Okay, hi Addy, welcome to your math lesson. Today we are going to do lesson number 35. And you should have already done your 30 fractions that you needed to reduce, so you're getting quite a bit better at that. Really good job last time. Keep up the good work, okay? And just try and notice, like when you have a numerator and a denominator that are both even numbers, that means you can reduce it even further. Just divide them both by 2. Anyway, so we are going to move on and jump right into this lesson number 35. Sorry if I have a little bit of a lisp, but it's kind of late at night and I already have my retainer in because I brushed my teeth and I put my retainer in. So that's why that's going on. So let's go on to mental math. So this lesson goes, first of all, I should say, this lesson is about writing decimal numbers as fractions. So that's something that is super important. You're going to have to do that many, many times in your life. So really important and useful for real life. So we'll go over how to do that, and then we'll go over how to read and write decimal numbers, which I think you're already pretty good at that, so enjoy a little bit of review on that one. Gave you just a cute, sweet little puppy to look at while we're talking about that. And then we're going to move on to mental math. So mental math, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to count by threes from 3 to 60, okay? So let's try it. We're going to do... I wonder if I should write them here for you. Why not? We're going to do 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, halfway there, 33, 36, 39, 42, 45, 48, 50, 51, yep, 51, 54, 57, and 60. Okay, hopefully I got all of that right for you. And we're going to go on and try and do the sevens now. The sevens are a little bit trickier for me, especially late at night, the way it is. But hey, let's go for it. Why not? We're going to do 7. Oops, I can't really see that. Can you? Let me choose a different color for this. How about that blue? Okay, let's do 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70, 77, and 84. You know what I do when I do those, Addy, is I just think of the 7 times tables. So 7 times 1, 7 times 2, 7 times 3. Is that how you do it? Anyway, let me know in the comments in your homework, okay? All right, we're going to move on to mental math, and we're going to do problem number A. Okay, problem number A. We're going to do 4 times 300, and then add to that 4 times 25. Write your answer. All right, let's move on to B. Remember, you're doing this in your head. What is 8 times 43? And remember, sometimes they have you do what's 8 times 40, and then 8 times 3, and then add those together. All right, let's move on to C. This is an addition problem, so don't let that confuse you. What is 37 plus 39? Remember, 39 is 1 less than 40, so you should be able to do that. How about D? $7.50 plus $7.50. See if you can do that in your head. I'm probably talking too much while you do this. I apologize. You might need to pause the video so you pause my talking so you can think about what to write. What about E? What is 1/3 of 360? Okay, this one, sometimes these tend to be a little bit tricky for you. So see if you can figure it out. What is 3,600 divided by 10? And G, another long one. I gave you a beautiful picture to look at while we go through it. So you're going to think of the number 5 times 5. We're going to start there, 5 times 5. Then subtract 1. Divide by 3. Multiply by 4. Add 1. Divide by 3. Add 1. And divide by 3. We're going to do that one more time. Make sure you get the right answer. So we're going to start with 5 times 5. Subtract 1. Divide by 3. Multiply by 4. Add 1. Divide by 3. Add 1. And divide by 3. Alrighty, let's move on to problem solving. So I hope this doesn't go over your head. Sometimes problem solving is a little tricky, but you've been doing really well on it. So I think you'll do really good at this one. This one is basically copy this problem and fill in the missing digits. So what you have is you have a 3-digit number, and you're going to add 1, and you're going to get a 4-digit number. So you know that over here, and it doesn't tell you which digits you need to use. You can use any digits that make the problem true. So if I were you, I would, I think I know how to do this, and there's only one answer that I can think of. So what number, when you're moving from 3 digits to 4 digits, like when you're moving from the hundreds place to the thousands place, what number do you add 1 to so that you move from the hundreds place to the thousands place? And okay, that's the only clue I'm going to give you, and I will let you figure that out on your own, because that might be a little tricky, but once someone shows you how to do it, it's going to be super obvious, okay? So it's okay if you don't figure it out. You probably already know the answer, and I'm saying these things. You don't even need to hear them. But anyway, if you don't figure that one out, it's okay. Let's just move on to the new concept. So the new concept is about basically writing decimal numbers as fractions. And so what it kind of makes the point that decimal numbers are actually fractions. We just don't usually think about them that way, but they do have a denominator. And the denominator is going to be either like 10 or 100 or 1,000. Okay, so it comes from that sequence. The denominators are, 10 or 100 or 1,000, depending on the decimal place. And in the last lesson, you learned about decimal places. So now you'll be able to know what the denominator is. Okay, so if you're at the 1 decimal place, so like you're only, 1 step past that decimal point, you know that that is in the tenths place, right? And that's not my lisp talking. That's just the tenths with a TH on the end of it, right? That's the tenths place. And so that tells you that the denominator is going to be 10. And so this number, which is 0.3, can also be written as a fraction 3 over 10 because that 3 is in the tenths place. Isn't that cool? So I think that is so cool. And this will come easy to you because you're really good at place value. And so this will come really easy. Let's look at the next one. If you're 2 decimal places, so let's look at this number right here. Here, I'll do this. I'll use the laser pointer, the cool laser. If you're looking at this number and it's 0.03. Now this 3, what place value is it? It's in the hundredths with the TH, right? Hundredths place. So that tells you what that denominator is going to be. It's going to be 100. Okay, so you can change this number, 0.03, thank you, Dada, okay, to a fraction because it actually is a fraction, and the fraction is 3 over 100. So think about that for a second and see if you understand that, okay? The other cool thing is, Addy, that if you have a calculator, and I know you don't use calculators in your homework, but maybe go ask Dad for one, and put these numbers in. Put in 3 divided by 100, and the answer that the calculator will give you is actually this. Isn't that cool? This is going to be so fun. Okay, maybe I just blew your mind. Did I just blow your mind? It kind of blows my mind sometimes because math is so fun. All right, so what if you are 3 decimal places past the decimal, 3 place values past that decimal? Ugh, I can't talk. Then that place value is called the thousandths. It's not my lisp again. It's that. So this is going to be your denominator, 1,000. Isn't that cool how I can make that arrow move? Cool. Yay. Okay, so that is going to be your denominator. So this number is actually 3 divided by 1,000. So this is actually equal to this. And if you put it in a calculator, that's what you'll get. This is so cool. All right, so notice that the number of zeros is the number of decimal places. Okay, so what do we mean by that? If you have 3 zeros in the number, and they're including the one in front of the decimal, then the fraction is going to be a number with 3 zeros. I don't know if I like that way of saying it. That's personally not how I think about it, and so that doesn't really help me, but if it helps you, then you can use that. Okay, so here's another example. This is example 1, and it says, write 0.23 as a fraction. See, that's the reason I don't like the other example, because what if that one's not a 0? What if there's only a 0 there? I don't know. I don't like that one. Okay, write 0.23 as a fraction. So the last number here, the 3, is in the hundredths place. So I'm going to think about this whole number 23 as over 100. Okay, so it's 2 places past the decimal. So it'll be 2 zeros. And there you go. 23 over 100 is that number. And you can always check your answers. And the way that you check your answer is you plug this into a calculator and it should give you this decimal. Okay, example number 2. Write 9 over 10 as a decimal number. Now, you could cheat and put that in a computer or a calculator and do 9 divided by 10, and you would see what the decimal is. But here we know that the denominator, that number on the bottom, is 10. So the decimal number has 1 decimal place. So we don't need to keep going this way because the denominator is 10. So the 9 is going to go right there, which is in the 10ths place. And because it's in the 10ths place, it's just going to be 0.9. So that's where it goes, okay? Alrighty. He's clapping because you're so smart. Okay, so now we are going to learn to read and write decimal numbers. So we read numbers to the right of a decimal point, sort of in the same way that we read whole numbers. And then you say the place value of the last digit. So this is the last digit. So the way that we would read something like this and say it out loud is you would say 23 hundredths. You could say 0.23 or 0.23, but if you are saying it in words and reflecting what it is in actual words, this is 23 hundredths because the last digit right here is in the hundredths place. Okay, and so what about if it's like a mixed decimal? Like there's a mixed decimal means there's numbers on this side of the decimal and then there's numbers on this side of the decimal. So you're going to read the whole number part first. And so then we would say and. So we would say 20 and 4 hundredths, because the 4 is in the hundredths place value. So this one would be 20 and 4 hundredths, and that's how you would say it. Okay. I mean, when you're just using numbers, you could just say 20.04, but if you want to say it properly in words and really reflect what it is, it's 20 and 4 hundredths. Okay. Now, we are going to do example 3. That's on page 184 if you're following along. And it says write 0.023 with words. Okay, let's see if we can do that. I'm going to get a different color. Okay, so we see this 23. Okay, so that's the part that we need to sort of say out loud. So I'm going to say, I'm going to say 20, and I'm going to hyphenate it because it's a number between 20 and 99. So those numbers are all hyphenated. 23, and then it's 3 decimal places basically, because if you look at it, it's like 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the 3, you can look at the 3 and be like, well, what place value is that? And since it's 3 past the decimal, it's actually in the thousandths place. So it's 23,000 with a THS on the end, thousandths. So that's how you would say it in words, 23 thousandths. Okay, let's do example 4. Use words to write this 20.04. Okay, so it's obviously the answer is not going to be 20 and 20.04. That would be way too easy. So this is one of those mixed numbers because there are some numbers to the left of the decimal and some numbers to the right of the decimal. Okay, so we're going to start by writing the 20. 20 and, because whenever there's the decimal, that's you kind of put and there. That separates the mixed number or the whole number from the rest of the fraction or the decimal parts. Okay, and then here we have just basically a 4. So it's going to be 20 and 4, and then you write the place value that it is. And since it's 2 places past the decimal, this is in the hundredths place. So we're going to say 20 and 4 hundredths. We're all going to just have lisps today, okay? So we're just going to have to accept that. All right, now we're going to do example 5. Example 5 says write 21 hundredths as a fraction, okay? And then it also says as a decimal, but we'll start with as a fraction. 21 hundredths. So if I'm writing it like a fraction, I'm going to write the 21, and the thing that goes on the denominator is going to be indicated by that word. And because it says hundredths, it's going to be 100. So that's the fraction, 21 over 100. Now again, if you wanted to cheat and find the decimal number, then just take a calculator and put 21 divided by 100, and it'll tell you the decimal. But you can figure it out because you know what? I just realized this might help you with your problem of like dividing by 100, because sometimes it's tricky to divide by 100 and we forget what place value the answer should be in. But this will definitely help you with that, because when we write it as a decimal number, it's going to be 21, but then where does the decimal go? We want the 1, okay, here, let me erase that. We want this 1 to end up in the hundredths place. So we know that that should be 2 past the decimal. So you can see that we go 1, 2, okay? And so the 1 is in, or we could go 1, 2. And the 1 here is in the hundredths place. And then just by convention, we always write a 0. If there's no mixed number, we write a 0 in front of the decimal, just to make it clear that the decimal is there. So this is 21 hundredths. So you know what? This might really make it easier for you to divide by 100, because you'll start to really get it right away, because this is 21 hundredths. Okay? Now, we're going to move on to example 6. And example 6 says, write 15 and 2/10 as a decimal number. I had to shorten number so I could fit it all on here. Write 15 and 2/10 as a decimal number. So because they have the word and right here, it's giving me a clue that this is sort of a mixed number. In other words, there's going to be a decimal and there's going to be numbers in front of it and numbers behind it. Okay? So I'm going to make that a little bit more. Maybe let's do that. That might help us. Okay. So the first part that comes in front of the and is this 15. So all we have to do is write, let's do it different. Let's write 15 right there. And now this number is 2/10. So that's what comes after the decimal number. And it's basically just the number 2 because of that. And then this number here is telling you the place value. And the tenths is only right there. So I made 2 spaces, but we're not going to need that one because that gets into the hundredths. So 2/10 is just going to be a 2 in the tenths place. So the answer here is going to be 15.2. Okay? Final answer. That one was actually really fun. Okay, so now it's time for you to enjoy the rest of your homework and just do your lesson practice and your mixed practice, okay? Can't wait to see what you do with this lesson, Addy. Have fun with it. Love ya. Bye.